You're welcome back. You're still watching Daybreak on Trusted Television. Now, to delve into our second segment of our discussion this morning, we'll be talking about the latest of the decision of the tribunal, election tribunal, and that is in Kaduna State, where the Governorship Election Petition Tribunal is sitting. And Kaduna has declared the Kaduna governorship election inconclusive. Now, inconclusive now might go both ways, but we understand that when we get further into the conversation. So the government, in a split decision rather, of a ratio of 2-1, the three-man tribunal panel led by Justice Victor Ovrawe declared that the election was inconclusive and thus directed that a supplementary election should be held by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, within 90 days. And of course, there's a lot to pack. A lot of people have attributed this decision or the judgment from the tribunal yesterday as a head-cracking one, because after that judgment was delivered, a lot of people was calling legal practitioners to actually explain. I even doubt if some of the actors that were involved in these really understood. They had to have a lawyer or a legal practitioner sit them down to explain to them, what this was all about. And
then finally, aside all of that, the panel of justices ruled in favor of Obasani. Exactly. And it threw out the petition on the grounds of technicalities, stating that the petitioners did not file an appeal within the stipulated time.
And it was,
preliminary appeal,
exactly. So we'll be unpacking all of this and discussing further. We're being joined by Barrister Bode Fadikbe. He is a legal practitioner and he will be our guest today as we'll be discussing whatever transpired. Remember that this judgment was delivered via Zoom, and when it started, a lot of people were like, okay, could it be a shocker, just like what happened in Kano? At the end of the day, of course, it was a head-cracking one.
Indeed it was.
A finger-biting one. You keep thinking.
A teeth-mashing judgment delivery. Because I know the tribunal also held that the pre-hearing notice filed by the PDP was out of time. It described it as one that was abandoned by the petitioners and therefore dismissed the petition. So let's talk to Barrister Bode Fadikbe. Barrister, what do you make out of the judgment? It's still a lot of controversy around it. As some would say, the governor, the incumbent Governor Obasani, escaped or was lucky because it was 2-1. I mean, it could have gone the other way, but it went his way. What's your reaction? Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. Good morning. I don't know if you can hear me clearly.
We can hear you. We can. Welcome.
Okay, thank you so much. Good morning, and thank you for having me. Kaduna is presenting a very interesting scenario, we must say. Quite frankly, it's going to be a bit difficult to make any prediction now because especially the PDP candidate, he has declared his interest to go to the appeal court to challenge the ruling of the lower court, as it is said. So the point we're trying to make here essentially is that until we get to that point where the appellate level will give a final decision, we may not be able to say anything. But I think it's very important to draw attention to the reason why the tribunal came to the decision it came to. And the reason is because the PDP legal team, as it were, or the PDP candidate, as it were, filed his petition out of time. I mean, according to the tribunal. Now, Section 285 of the Constitution makes it very clear the time within which you can bring your petition to the tribunal for consideration and adjudication. And a constitutional matter goes beyond the threshold of court rules. In Section 285, the Constitution says within 21 days of the declaration of results, within 21 days. So anything outside of the 21 days, it means in law you are deemed to have abandoned your petition. And it is an incurable error at that point in time. Nothing can be done. It's an irreversible process. So if you exceed the limitation period, for instance, in land law or in other civil matters, you are expected to bring your grievances to court within 6 years. If anything outside of those 6 years you don't do it, the law presumes that you have slept over your rights, and it is an incurable defect. So this is what the tribunal has said. The tribunal has said you did not bring your petition within the stipulated time, and I'm a bit worried that that kind of thing will happen. So because one has not been opportune to see the entire judgment of the court to be able to say that this is what led to it. Can a legal team, an experienced legal team, as like the one that took up the petition of the PDP candidates, fall victim of such a fundamental requirement?
If I could just chip in for a second, Barrister. So the tribunal, in an additional notice, had stated that if it had not dismissed the petition for lack of merit, it would have ordered for supplementary elections to be conducted in 22 polling units within 90 days of the substantive judgment. Now, bear in mind that the vote difference between Senator Obasani, who won the election, and that of Ashiru is just around 10,806, with Senator Obasani polling a total of 730,002 votes, while Ashiru scored a total of 719,196 votes. Now, of course, we know that at this point, the PDP and its candidates have been pushed to the brinks. However, the judgment was not in their favor. Is there hope with regards to appealing the judgment? Is there hope that it's still possible that when they appeal, there's probably going to be a judgment in favor of a supplementary election happening in these 22 polling units, which was identified by the tribunal?
Also putting in mind that, you know, we have 16,000 registered voters in these 22 polling units. What are the chances?
A very critical point here, and it is one of the points that was raised by the PDP legal team. Now, for them, the approach to the appeal is this: if we can get the appeal court to say that we were not out of time, then we can now go back and get the rerun to take place. I don't know whether you see the point I'm trying to make. Now, they have two hurdles, and this is the reason why there is confusion with the judgment of the tribunal. The legal team understands clearly what is going on, and they have marshaled out a professional approach to it. And what is the professional approach? The tribunal has said, if you had filed within time, I would have ordered a rerun, meaning that there is an issue that has not been cleared. But the technical point is still there, and that's a major hurdle. And I dare say that being a constitutional requirement, I can only guess what will happen. But I don't have so much confidence in the reversal of this judgment, because it's a constitutional requirement. If the constitution is the highest law of the land. If no law has the power to supersede the provisions of the Constitution, every law that goes against any section of the Constitution is declared null and void to the extent of that inconsistency. So if the Constitution says you must do a thing within a specified period, and you refuse to do that thing, or neglect to do it, or omit to do it, the punishment is that you will not benefit from the proceeds of the provision. So that worries me a lot, given the provision of Section 285 of the Constitution.
In addition to all of the technicalities which the judgment was premised upon, I got to find out subsequently that the 21 days which was supposed to be the period with which the petitioners were to file their petition for adjudication. According to the issues, that were raised, they explained that they filed it within the 21 days, but unfortunately, they got receipt for payment, of filing on the 22nd day. So, Dr. Barrister, what's your suggestion and what's your opinion, on that?
Now, the day you got the receipt, if that is an issue, is a little bit interesting.
Exactly. Because I was going to say you filed it on the 21st day. Are you looking at the day you got the receipt or the day you filed?
The day you filed is very, very important. But now that the date on the receipt has become a fact in issue, then we need to also be very, very careful. Otherwise,
exactly.
The day your document
an argument could be premised upon.
That is why there is a stamp, including the time that your process was accepted. The date it came in. That date is extremely important because it will be used to calculate whether you are within the period of limitation or you are outside the period of limitation. Once you are within the period of limitation, by law, the date the receipt was given to you, then you need to tell us why the date on the receipt is different from the date on the process, because they go simultaneously. They are Siamese twins. They go simultaneously. As you are filing your process, you are getting a receipt for payment. Is it that payment was not done immediately, and as such, receipt was not given immediately, or that receipt booklet was exhausted and nothing was given to them as evidence to show that they had paid the prescribed fee for the filing of that petition? Okay. These are issues that they may canvass at the appellate level.
All right, Mr. Fadipe, I know that this is a dicey one, and we've been able to establish this morning. But, the preliminary petition, which, of course, that's what will leave for them to slog out when they do their cross-appeal and appeal. Now, that brings me to moving forward now. This is a very, very intriguing one, because a lot of people were expecting that, one of the parties will be the one to do the filing of the appeal. But this one, as dicey as it is, we're going to see both parties involved right now doing a cross-appeal and an appeal. So what does this mean for people who do not understand what the situation is right now for the cross-appeal and the appeal? What does this mean, and what are the chances that, this judgment will be upheld in favor of Ubasani again?
Well, the chances, like I said, let us take it that they are not in court yet, so we are not barred from discussing it. Otherwise, when a matter is in court, it is described as sub judice. You are not allowed to discuss. But I know of a fact that as a public interest issue, you also have the opportunity to express your opinion. Now, it will depend essentially on the prayers that they bring to court. It will depend essentially on the prayers that they bring to court. You see, what we have always seen most of the time is that those who are outside of the legal profession, even for those who are within the legal profession, if you don't know the prayers that the legal team has brought to court, you may not be able to comment substantially on it. And this is a very clear fact. So, in terms of the appeal and the cross appeal, I can understand the appeal, but I cannot understand the cross appeal. Why would APC want to go on a cross appeal, for instance? What would be the basis? I am yet to see the basis why they want to go on a cross appeal. But maybe to also throw in their own position and say, look, once you have declared us as the winner, based on the fact that there is a violation of a constitutional provision, then the court lacks the jurisdiction to entertain such an appeal. Maybe.
All right, there seems to be some kind of glitches there, but we're hoping that he will join very soon. I'm looking at this as PDP asking for a mansion and the court giving them a hut.
Oh, I think we have Dr. back, so
yes,
let's keep listening to.
Hello, can you still hear me?
Go on, Doctor, we can hear you. We lost you for a bit there, but then
okay,
back.
thank you. Okay, I'm sorry for that. It was a slight internet disruption. Now, so I can see the position of the legal team of PDP, and I share their position very strongly because even the courts have said we must be careful with technical justice.
True.
Yeah.
We must be careful with it. The courts have always said we should look for the merit of the matter. Maybe it was on the basis of that the tribunal said, but for your filing out of time, we would have ordered a rerun in those areas where we have seen the need for such a thing. So let's keep our fingers crossed. If Ubasani is returned as the candidate by the appeal court, well and good. If the decision of the lower court is upturned, well, the most important thing for me is that the people of Kaduna State, and that is one of the major states in this country, is the prime state in the north. The people of Kaduna State enjoy good governance. The person that is coming from PDP is an indigenous of Kaduna State, is a Nigerian who is desirous of making sure that there is good governance. Ubasani of APC is also a Nigerian and of Kaduna State origin, who also desires that there is good governance. At the end of the day, let the people be the winner. Let justice be the winner, so that at least we can go on. But I also know that there is a conversation around the fact that we must also do everything to make sure that it is not the court that eventually gives us a winner. Right. It is the people that should give us a winner rather than the court. So this multiplicity of litigations that we are having here and there is beginning to create a lot of worries, and we are beginning to think that the election tribunal is another place for voting when we have finished our own voting as citizens.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you very much,
Barrister Fadipe. But like you said, we'll keep our fingers crossed, and of course, let the people be the winner. Barrister Fadipe, thank you so much for giving perspective to us and to our viewers. And we do hope to touch base with you subsequently as soon as updates on the issues emerge. Thank you so much for joining Daybreak.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Yes. And viewers, will be going on a quick break now as well. And when we return, we'll serve you more.